So Tekken 8 Season 2 has been out for a couple of days now, and it is no secret that the community has not responded well to it. Not going to sugarcoat it, people do not like it. I do not like it. So with all that being said, I think one thing that's been quite interesting is we're seeing it thinking, okay, what is the devs' reaction to this? Because obviously what is going to be done about this? There are huge issues a lot of people are not having fun with right now. So I was making a different video at this point, but I'm going to merge the two videos because as I was working on this, Harada tweeted. That is the headline of today. Harada has tweeted. He has had something to say about this season. What he has to say is, so he's responding to this tweet here. He responds, tagging the devs in tweets, calling them stupid, and a bunch of other slander is not respectful, bro. There's plenty of shit to shovel in their mentions. Twitter Tekken is so entitled, it's crazy. And I do kind of agree. I think people are doing too much on Twitter. I think just give your feedback. You don't need to be angry and call for people's jobs and get their head at the stake and pitchforks out, right? But I do understand that people are upset and angry right now because this direction seems very confusing. Just find a good way to portray your thoughts, because some people have done that. And Harada actually quote tweets this. In any case, it is clear to me that the result is a disconnect between what the community wants and the tuning results. I understand that whatever words I may be accused by the community about it, that is not the essential issue, and it is not the time to worry about it. We have a battle and tuning team working around the clock to read through all the feedback logs from the community and work on future policies and changes for the better. Thanks. So I think even here he's saying, like, I know people are going to say words about me, but that's not the main issue here. And I think the huge sentence here that I want to focus on is, it is clear to me the result is a disconnect between what the community wants and the tuning results. So straight up he's saying we got it wrong. He's saying we got it wrong. There is a disconnect between what the community wants and the tuning results. What we have given to the community is not what they want, and we are going to read through all the feedback logs from the community and work on future policies and changes for the better. Because in case you guys are also unaware, Tekken tweeted, the official Tekken tweeted, fighters, we are aware of the current community feedback regarding Tekken 8 Season 2. We are currently reviewing the balance of the game. Expect more information about these changes soon. In addition, an emergency patch will be released in April to address the following issues, and that is pulls forward 1+2. Paul is a bug right now. If he does forward 1+2 into while standing 4, you can't block the while standing 4. It is completely bugged. That is an issue. Like, yeah, that's a bug. And Jack's forward 2-1 into make some noise, up forward 1+2 from there when blocking the third hit is uninterruptible. So in addition to the issues mentioned above, we're also working to identify the causes of behavioral issues and implement fixes. These fixes are planned to be included in the emergency patch scheduled for release in mid to late April. Furthermore, after the emergency patch is released, we will continue to carefully collect and evaluate feedback from the community and address issues as needed. Details, including the exact date and contents, will be announced as soon as they are finalized. So I think this is a step in the right direction, right? They understand issues. Here's the thing though, like for instance, pulls forward 1+2 bug, that should have been QA tested, and they should have known this is something that shouldn't be released for season 2. They'd have a long time to work on season 2. This forward 1+2 bug, that should have been in the game. And I've said Jack's 2-1 up forward 1+2, that makes no sense. So for jab string plus into more plus, and a plus on block mid that you can't interrupt, you have to parry if you're Jin or Leroy, or power crush. That's the universal defense for that. And some character of evasive moves like Hwarang's back one will work. But at the end of the day, if Jack doesn't do the move, then you're just unsafe because he baited you off a jab string. Like, it's very interesting. So at the end of the day, this is positive. This is a step in the right direction. Now, why I say I was working a different video is what I wanted to do in today's video is talk about specific issues with Tekken 8, the specific problems. Because I did the rant video. My first interview was the rant video, and while I don't regret the video, I feel like it's important to give as much constructive feedback as possible. Tell them what the actual issues are and potential solutions. Like, again, I just had to get my raw unreleased feelings out there. I don't want to say I regret it, but I could have been more specific in what I was bringing to the table. So that's what I'm going to do here today. An example of this we're going to open up the game right now. To me, there's just an overall lack of counterplay in this game. There's a lack of giving you meaningful counterplay. And I'll give you an example here with Lars. So, and again, the characters I mentioned in this video, this type of stuff is happening across the board, across the entire cast. A lot of people are doing this. I don't know if everyone is doing it, but a lot of people are doing it. I'm only bringing up the examples that I'm currently aware of, so I'm not picking any one character in particular. But let's take Lars here, for example. So you got this new move, running 1+2, which can go into Sen at +6. So running 1+2 is a running high. I'm pretty sure it's homing. Yeah, it is practically homing. So homing, homing +7, a new running move into stance, which again, running moves into stance across the board, just they need to just go. They need to go. Stance 50/50s they're too strong in this game. Too many characters are doing it. Characters, they're just losing their identities. Now, why I bring this one up specifically is because from Sen, Lars could do 3+4, right? 3+4. 0 on block, does chip damage, and in total, what? That's 9 points of chip damage. So 15 points of chip damage here for this sequence. Now, why I bring this up and talk about lack of counterplay is I played against Kaizoku Lars yesterday, and he did this running one into Sen 3+4, and I was like, I tried to power crash. I was like, wait, that didn't work. Okay, then I went to the replay. I was like, let me find an option to deal with it, and I came to the conclusion there's nothing you can do. I can't power crash here. My power crash isn't fast enough. I get counter hit. I can't sidewalk. I can't sidestep either direction. I have to take this. I can't sidestep either direction. I can't jab. I can't interrupt because again, he's 2+. There isn't anything I can do here outside of just ducking the running one. But if I do not duck the running one before, if I don't take the risk to duck while Lars is running in my face, that is uninterrupted on just 15 points of chip damage. You can say, oh, okay, but it's only 0 from this point. You know, you return. But again, I'm in crouch. So if I do not duck that running one, that is just guaranteed chip damage I have to take. And again, you can say it's 0, but you know, I recover in crouch. So, you know, I have to do a crouching option via dick jab while setting 4. But again, the fact that there is simply nothing you can do in this situation to stop the Sen 3+4, I think it makes no sense. It makes no sense. There's no, and then Lars also has a low from this stance. He has Sen 2, the heat engager. To me, it's very strange. It's a very strange design choice, because just because I didn't duck that is a guaranteed mid I have to take, and he has lows to mix up as well. Another character I want to bring up with changes they made, Jun Kazama. She has her forward 1+2. She can do into 2 different stances, right? She can go into this stance from 2. She can do this move. You see that +9 into 2 separate stances for stance mix-ups. From Miare stance, in this, she then has a homing plus on block mid, which goes into Genjutsu stance mix-up. So it's simply because I blocked that one move there, the forward 1+2, I am, well, you see -6, -9 there if she goes into stance. Then I have to worry about this new homing mid that I believe, I want to say, is a counter hit launcher. If I turn on Jun's counter hit. Oh no, so it's counter hit with a guaranteed follow-up. +20. So I think guaranteed heat engager. So when she's in heat, I'm pretty sure that's a launch. Let's find out. I'm pretty sure that's a launch while Jin is in heat. Yeah, that is a launch while Jin is in heat. And it's going to be a wall splat as well. So, again, I just showed you a reason why you don't really want to mash out of that. But yeah, it's a plus on block mids at +9 into another stance with a plus on block homing mid, counter hit follow up, counter hit heat engage, counter hit launch. She could then, is from what? From the Miare 1+2, she can then do Genjutsu mix up with a low that they sped up. They made this low here. They made this low faster now. So you can use it because they want Jun to be able to do oppressive stance 50-50 mix-ups. Jun Kazama of all characters, they want to be doing oppressive, aggressive, stance, 50-50 mix-ups, where your only choice in these situations is to guess. And one thing I've found typically in this game is a lot of your counterplay in these situations. So for instance, if she does then do this sequence that I showed, right? 4-1+2 into Miari 1+2. So if she does do this sequence, you get Power Crush, right? And I found across the board, like again, take Jax 2-1 into Make Some Noise. That's another situation where your only counterplay is to Power Crush. And it's just forcing aggression, forcing button pushing, and it's just forcing interaction, right? Because chip damage there. Oh, sorry, let me block it. So chip damage there, and then into another stance. It's like, okay, chip damage, she's plus now. I'm gonna Power Crush, try and take my turn back. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, there's other things to mix up with. Jun can also be patient, bait out the Power Crush, and go from there. It's forcing people to play the game. It's forcing people to just be aggressive for the sake of it. And understand, back in Tekken 7, people are like, oh, backdash simulator. I personally don't think it was as bad as people make it out. I just remember there was that one Evo where you had Arsenash and Al both in top 8, and they were both playing Kunimitsu and doing a lot of infinite Azure backdash. I feel like just removing the stage select rule would have been very healthy for the state of that game, but it is what it is. Like, I feel like there's a difference between, and again, I'm gonna get into someone that says this in a second. There's a difference between aggression and oppression. You can be very aggressive, sure, but like this continual, just because you're blocking in this game, you get punished for blocking, you get punished for having defense. And what I find very strange, for instance, if we go back to the Lars example, the running 1 into send 3+4, that's a completely guaranteed sequence unless you duck the running 1. They buffed the movement in this game. Movement is better, but you can buff a sidestep from a lot more things in this game. And in general, like I'm finding myself getting step more and also stepping more. Movement has been greatly improved, but when characters have options that you can't step around, when characters are now so plus that you can't step, what is the point of that? It's becoming like, it's like fighting in a phone box now. You're at this range now because you're plus, and you try and get over, you try and push a button, you try and do something. They have something at all times to keep you in check and stop you. So what's your thought from that? I have to Power Crush. Because again, they made Power Crushes so strong in this game to the point you literally have to use them. The expression of the player is gone. And I mean that in many instances. Like, I feel like a big character that people are complaining about this season is Steve Fox. And I feel like for good reason. So let's take Steve, for instance, right? Like, because again, a lot of people saying characters are losing their identity. One thing they did with Steve at the start of this game is he had certain moves like down back 3-2, goes into Lionheart. While setting 2-2, goes into Lionheart. And Steve players didn't want to always go into Lionheart. You know, that was a big complaint they had. So in one of the earlier patches they made, if Steve held back, he doesn't go into Lionheart off these moves anymore, right? He doesn't go into Lionheart because again, if he goes into Lionheart and he did a slower option, he could get Power Crush for it. He could get interrupted. He could get parried. So again, I don't want to go into Lionheart. I'll just take my +7 instead of the Lionheart mix up. But now what they've done with Steve is they're giving him so many options now that everything goes into Lionheart, and it's kind of in your best interests now to just go into Lionheart. Like, take Duck 4-2 for instance. Lionheart plus 14, right? Duck 4-2, you don't go into Lionheart +10, but they're crouching. He gets nothing. He gets nothing guaranteed here anymore. He gets nothing guaranteed unless he goes into Lionheart. Oops. Unless he goes into Lionheart, he gets nothing guaranteed. There's that, like, this is a big part of Steve's game now, is you have to go into Lionheart. And again, we talk about the stance 50-50s and the stance rushdown characters, and Steve is a character now where he does Lionheart 1 back. He now goes into flicker off of that. So it's like Steve is a character now that is going into stance, just like I saw with Jun. Forward for 1+2 into stance, into a mid homie move, into another stance. Lars running 1 into stance. It's the identity of characters is simply being lost, and it's making the defender, I feel like being the defender in this game is the worst in any fighting game I've played. And I played quite a few fighting games. You know, I've played quite a few. People think just because I stream Tekken, and I've played a lot of fighting games. I actually play a lot of games in general. People think I only play Tekken. This is one thing I've realized. I saw someone leave a comment on my last video or the video before, and was just like, yeah, like you shouldn't be playing only one video game one video game type your entire life and one video. And no, I am a gamer. I'm not just a fighting gamer. I'm a gamer. I might not be a fighting gamer very soon if this continues. But yeah, this is weird to me. Stance into stance into stance. And I want to look at the community's reaction to a lot of these things as well, because people are making some very good points and some very good tweets. And if you think some people are reacting, IGN actually made an article. There is an IGN article about the Tekken 8 Season 2 reception. But take, for instance, here, you know, Ty saying Tekken 8's biggest mistake was conflating aggression with forced interaction 50-50s, because that's what a lot of this game is now. A lot of characters are just getting forced interaction 50-50s. And I find it strange because a lot of people are talking about like Hwoarang now. This is like Hwoarang. You know, this is similar to playing against Hwoarang. This is what Hwoarang's like. And I would disagree to some extent, because Hwoarang has to hit you, at least to start his mix-ups. He has to hit you. A lot of these characters, you're blocking one move into a stance, into another stance, into another stance, and that's how it begins. But also, I feel like the philosophy was kind of like, we do want more characters to be like Hwoarang, because again, characters are losing identity. Hwoarang has lost his now. But I find that interesting because of how much they talk about wanting this game to be welcoming to newcomers. They want people to get in, and they want new players to flourish. But who is a character that a lot of new players complain about a lot and don't like playing against a lot, and it's hard to lab and play against? Hwoarang. So it feels very interesting to me to sort of go down this route. And look at Don Billy's tweet here. He said, remember when Zafina, Hwoarang, Lars were the stance characters? Claudio was the install character. Lee was one of the only characters with good wall travel. Some characters weaker punishment. Eddie had no sidestep. Heihachi and Paul had outstanding combo damage. Dragunov had outstanding pressure. Mishmas had the best mix-up / vortex. Primarily, grapplers had very good throws. There was a time where characters had identities, but due to the homogenization, everyone's getting the same stuff. Even getting Feng doing stance mix-ups now, like off of his back three. It's really like, Feng used to just be a poke character. He was a poke character that could really punish you heavy for making mistakes. His shoulder was an excellent whiff punish. But now he's doing back three into stance mix-up. It doesn't make sense. The cast is simply becoming the same. And just to give you an idea of the type of pressure that you see in this game, you have this type of pressure here from Steve now. From Steve of all characters. Steve is a character who, again, back to the was quite terrifying because of the risk of like a back one and the 1-2-1. He could kind of keep you locked down. But now here you see this looping pressure with Steve, and if you do try and duck, bang. Because the Lionheart 1? Yeah, because the Lionheart 1 now wall splats, I-14, he's +5 off of the duck forward 2. You now have to worry about a wall splat. It's like, this is why you don't want to duck with your back against the wall. But you're seeing so many characters now with amazing pressure that are doing all these highs. You're like, why don't you just duck? This is why you don't just duck with your back to the wall in Tekken. I think the last tweet I really want to focus on is Gosane's tweet here. With the amount of justified criticism and negativity surrounding this patch, I don't know if they'll be willing to even read this, but why not? Individual character balance aside, and arguably a general consensus of objective, constructive feedback, here is my Tekken 8 wishlist. And he goes into great detail here, and I want to talk about everything here because I think this is all important. So never going to happen, but just revert back to season 1, focus on character balance, and stop attempting to homogenize the whole cast. Why does Eddie have a G-clef? This is really important. Personally, I think one of the best things they could do right now is actually just revert back to season 1 and try again. But again, he says never gonna happen. And yeah, I don't think it is, because they spend a lot of time and money and effort and resources on this. I don't think they're just gonna scrap it all. That's just a waste of money at the end of the day, even though I think it could be the best option moving forward. Please do not, and I repeat, do not listen to the request of increasing HP. You're going to undermine poking even more than it is right now. Game has already lost its identity with this patch, and doing that will just confirm it. I agree. There isn't much reason to just sit there and poke anymore. You just need to get in their face, do chip damage, get the launch, get the counter hit, because they tried to power crush your aggression, and then deal with that from there. I feel like giving more health is just it's putting a band-aid on that will be easily ripped off, in my opinion. Oki needs to be reverted. Please stop trying to force the player to have their hand held through every interaction, e.g. auto back roll. No skill expression and lack of creativity. Deleting legacy mechanics doesn't do any favors for anyone. That's very big. The fact that, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Oki essentially is now gone in this patch. You can basically always wake up in most situations and nothing bad will happen to you anymore. Even to the fact, like, after like you get hit by a Dragonos running 2, for instance, it auto back rolls for you. You know, it's literally, they're now holding the hand of the player and almost playing the game for you in that sense. Like, let me stay down just in case, you know, I know they're going to try and do another running 2, then then it's going to whiff. I can get up and I can punish him for that. No, I'm getting back up and I have to get in and take another 50-50. In previous iterations, you could sacrifice damage in order to go for an Oki mix. In this game, even max damage combos and wall combos give insane Oki. The round ends after 3 interactions, for example, link combo into heat burst at the wall combo into mix. There needs to be risk or some sort of sacrifice if ulting for better positioning or for better Oki, etc. This is something I said since the start of the game. Early in Tekken 7, this was something you could, if you would do a combo. This is my combo I'll do for wall carry. To get the wall, this is my combo I'll do just for damage, and this is my combo if I want to set up Oki. Now characters just have combos that do everything. Again, it's a lack of expression, lack of identity. Everyone has great wall travel anyway, and then the Oki setup is just going to be disgusting. Punishes into stance transitions, 50-50 mix up with every character. There's no such thing as signature archetypes and identities in this game anymore. I think I've covered that already. Artificial sense of depth, adding in individual mechanics and installs. Seems like the core concept of movement mind games in general are worthless. Again, how many new characters got additional installs this game? I can think of Jun, Jack, Zafina. That's just 3 off the top of my head. I'm sure more characters got them as well. Bloating game even more with unnecessary string mix-ups. Example, Devil G new down for 1 extension. He doesn't need the mid. Don't know, Devil G got down for 1-2, which is now natural. Well, he had down for 1-2 before, and then they gave him a mid as well, down for 1-4. Again, not every mid-high extension needs a mid. I think, you know, just let the mind game be. It's the mid-high. Are they going to do it and I'm going to duck and punish, or are they just not going to do it? Giving them the mid is just punishing you, just adding an unnecessary mix-up to a game that has many unnecessary mix-ups. Combo damage needs to be decreased across the board. Strong arrow tails needs to be adjusted. Combos take way too long. Again, how many characters got new strong arrow tail spins in their combos? Combos are taking forever. You're flipping through the air and too many extensions. Everyone is traveling far too far in combos. Heat burst tracking still needs to be adjusted. I feel like Hwaring's heat burst got additional tracking this season. It definitely feels like it's tracking more to the right, and I feel like that's not the direction you should be going in. I feel like heat burst should have less tracking across the board. Some tracked too much, some tracked not at all. I feel like the latter is better. Lateral movement has been improved, but the new moves introduced in season 2 still have strong tracking / homing properties that just make the movement improvement feel redundant. That's a huge thing. Like I mentioned, it's good that they have improved tracking. I'm noticing it more, but I can't step anyway because you've given every character a new homing move. Like Hwaring has a new homing low, for instance. Like, I don't know what that's about. Heat engaged into full crouch needs to be taken out, giving characters new moves to fit this current meta. For example, Brian's new full crouch low in Snake Eyes is too overwhelming for the defender. Again, it felt like a mechanic added just for Anna because she has a full crouch low and a mid, and they both launch. But they decided that other characters should have access to this as well, because I feel like it's like they felt like other characters would feel left out because they can't make use of this new mechanic. So we're going to give them moves to make use of this, and it just makes the game for the defender that much more unfun. Heat smashes should not wall splat, and they definitely shouldn't activate gimmicks. Balcony, floor break, and wall break. That one speaks for itself. We've seen Jin's heat smash enough. New moves have way too many properties that just have crazy option coverage. For example, Jack's stance up for 1+2, low crushing, mid, plus, tracks both ways, and deals crazy chip damage. Again, yeah, a lot of moves that are just doing everything for no reason. Reduce chip damage across the board. That one speaks for itself. Personal bias, but stop trying to change DSS that leaves veterans at a detriment, or bring back old input for blue sparks. Lack of skill expression. Guys who know Law's DSS input used to be harder in Tekken 7. It was like, I think it's like back forward. It was like you do like 4-3 back forward and then you go into DSS, and like you could do some really crazy thing with DSS, like while sending full count hit, you do the DSS, you get 3+4. It was a full launch back then. Obviously that still exists, but DSS is a lot easier, and now they're making it worse. And it's, again, he's a lore player. He's not gonna like these changes that sort of affect his character and make it easy for everyone to just access these formerly high skill, very hype things to see. It really sort of turns down your excitement for it when you know, well, pretty much anyone can do that now. Too much visual noise makes the screen just look cluttered. Flashbang on heat smashes, red sparks, Jun's powered up laser takes up too much of the screen. Tekken was renowned for its visual clarity and how it was easy to follow the animation. Hit effects just hide everything. Reina, Lars, I think that's huge. There are sometimes I've not even been able to see Lars's throw because he's just like a heat smash or something, and the lightning is still on the screen. I can't see his arms properly. I feel like that's a big issue. So many new hit sounds just make it even more jarring and exhausting to play. It's for an accessible perspective, at least, to be open and mention it. Just too much stimulation. Again, there's a lot of new sounds in this game, and I feel like the mixing also is a bit off. Some of them are too loud and some of them are a bit more quiet. It's like it's very interesting. It feels like there's so much going on. Again, it can be it's just too much stimulation. New move animations look awkward and not really refined or polished. Looks like they've been rushed. I've said this, a lot of these new strings, for example, like Feng's back 4-2, even Huang's down 3+4, and his elbows back 2 and right forward back 1, they do look like moveless editor moves. They look like they've come out of like someone just doing the mods where you can edit the move list, and they don't look right. Like Feng's back 4-1, back 4-3+4, for instance, it looks like something that has come out of move list editor. And we need transparency on who is actually testing and approving these decisions, and I think this is a big one because there are so many changes made this season where I look at it and I question myself and I ask, like, who could have possibly thought this was a good idea? Who thought that Feng needed a follow-up off of back 4-2? Who thought Huang needed a homing high crushing low to sort of remove one of his weaknesses? Who thought Leo should have gotten a new low from Bok to create the mix-up, to create a mix-up that just becomes that much more oppressive? It's very concerning as players of this game to feel like we know more than the people making this game. It's very concerning. You know, I would love to see who is making the decisions to change this game. Who is making it so that every character now is knocked down into stance 50-50, and then you play the game from there, because it doesn't feel like someone who truly understands Tekken. It feels like we understand the game and the characters more than the people designing them, and it feels like they're ruining it to some extent. So, with all that being said, I hope I have provided some clarity as to what the issues are in Tekken 8 Season 2. I hope the dev team do pay attention to these tweets, especially. I feel like Joker also made a very good tweet after getting GOD. I hope they pay attention to these tweets. They take them on board. We've seen Harada tweet now. Michael Murray has also made a tweet responding to someone saying that, like, I'm giving this feedback to the balance team. That's the official Tekken account tweeted. I hope they take all of this on board and do something in this emergency patch, because the emergency patch will be coming soon, and then we're gonna have the pre-Tekken World Tour patch. I'm pretty sure. I think that's how it's gonna go. But that emergency patch needs to have something quite good in it. You know, I know it's still at the pre-Tekken World Tour patch, but you know, this game is in a state right now people do not want to play, and with Tekken World Tour starting in just over a month, the game needs help. So let's do all we can to try and help the game and help the devs, and if not, something will have to happen. That's going to be all from me on this video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.